Here's the deal. I have to let Mr. Crush Parking Lot Candy take over the review of Elemental because I need an actual scientist to explain what the fuck this was. Let me explain. So if you haven't seen Elemental yet, I'm not actually surprised because it only came out on Friday. And you want to know what it's about? You fucking got me here. I thought it was going to be a story about somebody trying to flood the fire district, and they kept talking about motor oil in the water, but apparently that had nothing to do with anything. I don't know. Honestly, this struck me as my big fat Greek wedding, except there's no wedding, and instead of trying to convince her dad to love him, she's trying to convince herself to love him. So just to sum it up, it's a character-driven love story. We thought there was going to be some plot there, but it doesn't really ever come to fruition. And that's all I got. Here's where you lose me, okay? They go into the quarry to find out where the water is coming from. And he's made of water. And there's people all over made of water. But apparently not all water is people. Why couldn't he just tell the water not to go there? It's water. He has a pool in his home. That would be the equivalent of an actual people having a pool full of blood in their home. And like every time he gets closer to her, you can kind of see him evaporate a little bit, which I'm assuming is just his life force leaving his body. But also, they have a sun in their universe, so what does he do on like a really hot day? Like, do people just evaporate into nothing? Is that their equivalent to like a brain aneurysm? And what does she do when it rains? And now for a special report with Mr. Crushed Parking Lot Candy.
Now for a real scientist's take on this. This is really, really bad science-wise. First and foremost, alright, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Alright, very simple. They're sitting around at 20, which is around 69 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And she is above the Draper point, which is 525 degrees Celsius. She is more approximate to around 900 to 950 degrees Celsius. This said, he should not just be bubbling when he's around her. There is a thing that when they touch, you somewhat see is called the Leidenfrost effect. Now, the Leidenfrost effect, there is a thin layer of gases created between water whenever it touches something hot. This is why, for a very brief period, you could just dunk your hand into water. Don't suggest you do that. That is hot, and it won't burn. And it is for that reason that they don't immediately boil. Additionally, she is at least a few feet away from him. And even if she is like a few feet away, should not at any point boil like that. Just saying. But the blue flame, yeah, that blue flame is, that's the reason why he evaporated, not her. Just throwing it out there. Also, she gets up to like 3,000 degrees. Just part 2. So, she gets up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, around 1,500 to 1,600 degrees Celsius. And the reason we know this is because she melts steel. And she melts steel to fix the pipes. Great. So the pipes, she's probably a little bit hotter because there's water behind it, cooling it down. It's a whole thing. Now, that blue flame you see, is burning at around 3,000 degrees Celsius, twice as hot as she is. And that's great. Except that's not the most dangerous thing that they do. So let's look at the most dangerous thing they do. There is a thing called backdraft. Firefighters have this problem when they are fighting a fire and it cuts oxygen off. Now, backdraft is very, very dangerous because when fire gets low because the oxygen is cut off, it's still hot. Very hot. The fuel is still hot. So, in her case, when she is underwater, running out of oxygen, and they burst out of that door there, and suddenly she has all this oxygen, her life is about to become fun because that bridge should have blown the hell up. She would have come out of there like a Roman candle. The whole evaporating thing, yeah, he would have probably evaporated because an explosion's a little different, or he would have become part of the lake. But reality is, that was the most dangerous thing. Same with the hearth. As soon as they reintroduced oxygen and they got it free, she would have exploded. And I don't know how she survives. Let's just make it to the fact that she is a chemical reaction. Fire is a chemical reaction. So whatever fuel was in her was gonna be spent really quickly twice in this movie. So let's just accept that it's magic and very nice and happy. And everybody lives happily ever after because it's Disney. Why not? And Mickey Mouse definitely did not burn alive.
So, 6 out of 10. But the little Pixar short at the very beginning called Carl's Date, you know, Carl from Up, gets a solid 1 zillion out of 10. Okay, bye. And another fucking thing. They tried everything except the correct answer to fill in the gaps in this quarry thing to keep Firetown or whatever from washing away. They tried sandbags, which is a good idea. And we tried tempered glass, which was a weird choice, but I see where they were going. But you have fire, and you have sand, and you have water, and then you have a cloud lady that can blow air. You had all the makings to make cement. And we know cement exists because he accidentally cemented the whole construction crew. Is it a homicide if you drink somebody?